Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, of course, we got to talk about the Indiana Pacers and their offseason preview. They came up short in the finals, regardless if you thought it was fair or not. They have some decisions to go over, and whether or not Tyrese Haliburton is going to be healthy next year. Hopefully, it isn't what we all think it is. But this is a team that went 50-32. I think we all know what they need to address, and that's the backup big man position and being a better rebounding team. While also, surprisingly, did you know they attempted the 9th least amount of threes in the NBA? I don't know if that was like a widely known fact. I actually was caught off guard by that. But what do you guys think the Pacers should do? Now, the Pacers did trade away their first round pick in this year's draft, and it's interesting due to the fact that they still have their second, but they really did just get rid of that first rounder for next year's. Basically, in that deal, the Pacers shipped the number 23 pick to the Pelicans, and they got back their 2026 first round pick from the Pelicans. And they also received or sent the rights to G League player Mojave King, who isn't in the G League anymore. But that trade actually clears out nearly $3.2 million in salary cap of the Pacers, who now possess their own first round pick in 7 consecutive drafts starting in 2026. And the Pacers are projected to enter the offseason about $20 million below the luxury tax and well below both cap aprons. And the big thing here is that the Pacers, who lost in the NBA Finals after going there for the first time since 2000, will return most of their core of their roster, with Miles Turner expected to return as an unrestricted free agent, signing an extension. Now, the extension, they've also basically suggested that this will be the first time that Indiana will pay the tax with this core to keep it together, because they believe it's that good. And I think, obviously, if Tyrese is hurt, you're going to have to look for a guard solution. Which, do you think bringing in a Chris Paul on, maybe a mid-level exception or a minimum deal to be your guard would be the deal? By the way, I think the deal that Miles Turner would be more than likely returning on is probably somewhere between $20 and $30 million. Let's say 25, could be 30. And if that's the case, they'll probably bring them to $195 million, just below the first apron. And that's part of the reason why I don't think they wanted to draft someone in the first round. But in the second round, I do think they could go after somebody or have interest in a potential player, as I think they're a team that is looking for a big man. Now, Tony Bradley and Thomas Bryant turned out to be really solid for them, especially like in this playoff run where they needed some big man help, and Thomas Bryant and Tony Bradley both played 8.5 minutes and 7 minutes a night, while in the regular season, 8 minutes for Tony Bradley, about 15 for Thomas Bryant, who I think Thomas Bryant shot 32% from the field from three, 51% from the field. Actually kind of had a resurgence. I don't know if they'll be able to keep him, but if they can bring back a Tony Bradley or sign somebody in free agency, there could really be a situation that I think they could bring back one of those guys, and then maybe in the back half of the draft a big man like a Vlad Golden. I don't think Yang or Kalkbrenner or any of the better big men are going to be available when they get to the clock with the 54th pick, unless like they trade up. But if you look at the centers that are going to be available in this year's draft, I think kind of paints a picture of who you're going to be working with in that range. And I mean, Rocco Zakarski could be available in that range. He could also be a guy that goes way earlier than you anticipate, due to the fact that there isn't a great depth in this big man class. Now, if you think a Dylan Cardwell or Vlad Golden or even a Victor Larkin could be there, I mean, that's something that they could have interest in. But what are some other areas that I don't think Isaiah Jackson or James Wiseman are coming back. I know they got rid of Wiseman, but Isaiah Jackson, they technically have his restricted free agency. I just don't think that's going to happen. Look, Benedict Mathurin will become extension eligible this offseason. I like him. I think they should keep him. And I think Obi Toppin is someone who would have been on the block, but he's staying, I think. Same thing with Aaron Nesmith. They have to keep TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard. And that's the thing is, I know they have a point guard, solid rotation already, but you do have to think that, okay, we do lose Tyrese for the entirety of the season, who could be like a third string point guard that could come in and behind Nembhard and TJ McConnell. That wouldn't be a terrible guy to look at. And who could that be? I mean, I think they're going to be looking at the back of the market, like a Monte Morris or a DeLon Wright, unless they're trying to maybe resurrect Markelle Fultz's career. I think Jordan Goodwin's a defensive guard who has some scoring ability to shoot from three and can hit, the mid-range shot. Not really a great, passer or anything. As I said, Corey Joseph and Aaron Hall. They are two guys that I think would really fit what they need. Jabon Carter could be someone that could fit what they need. But yeah, this Pacers squad is one that they need to get better at rebounding. I think also, if you're not going to keep Benedict Mathurin or Jarris Walker, you have to figure out. By the way, Tony Bradley has a team option on his deal, so they're probably going to keep Tony Bradley and just maybe let Thomas Bryant walk and then try to figure out either with that second round pick or in free agency. As I said, they could be just doing, again, these are all going to be minimum contracts. They're not really trying to go out and dole out money. The only money they're going to dole out is to Miles Turner, because that shot blocking, floor spacing big man is valuable to them. His toughness, his consistency was a large part in Indiana's NBA Finals run this past season, and he's played at a high level. 16.7 rebounds, almost 1.5 assists, 2 blocks on 40% from the field, 48% from downtown. You don't move that. I think Paul Reed, yeah, he's a little undersized, but he's an energy big man. He sets solid screens, and he uses his size well down low. And I think he's someone who plays bigger against, other foe. I love Thomas Bryant. He's regained some of that mojo in Indiana, and he can space the floor, shoot the three well. And I spoke to him. He's a great guy. I just don't know if he might be poached. Sandro from San Antonio, the guy who played at Sandro Mamu, he's someone who they could maybe bring in. He could be someone sneaky good. Another one is a Luka Garza. I just think Isaiah Jackson, bringing him back with that Achilles is just a risk. And I know the market's very bare. You're not looking at, it's slim pickings out there. Because outside of that, does an Orlando Robinson or a Micah Potter, Mo Bamba really change anything? I don't know. Maybe bring in DeAndre Jordan to be the reserve big man if you can't get Thomas Bryant back. But I think those are really the issues you're trying to fix, outside of, obviously, figuring out what's going to happen with Tyrese while he's gone.